The lights were hot, the crowd was roaring, and Bruce Dickinson stood on stage staring at a sea of faces. But something felt different. He raised his microphone, expecting the usual glow of flashing screens and phones in the air. Instead, he saw eyes, thousands of eyes, locked onto him, alive, awake, and fully present. For the first time in years, the audience wasn't hiding behind their devices. No phones, no cameras, just people. Bruce smiled. It wasn't the kind of smile he fakes for a photo. It was the smile of a man who realized he was touching something real. Iron Maiden had played for millions of fans across decades, but this moment was different. He felt the raw electricity that once defined concerts before technology started creeping into every corner of life. Back then, people didn't come to record a memory, they came to live it. And in this moment, Bruce realized how powerful it was when the barrier of the phone disappeared. The energy in the arena grew louder, almost primal. Every chant, every clap, every scream seemed to rise higher without a single screen to distract or filter it. Bruce leaned forward and thought to himself, this is what music was always meant to feel like. It wasn't just about Iron Maiden. It was about connection, something the modern world seemed to have forgotten. And as the band tore into the next song, Bruce carried a thought in his head that would later change the way he talked about music forever. Fans without phones are different. For decades, concerts were sacred spaces. People would rush through the gates, clutching tickets like treasure, their hearts pounding as they waited for the first note to explode through the speakers. It wasn't just music. It was escape, freedom, and belonging. But something started to shift in the late 2000s. Suddenly, the glow of phones became brighter than the glow of stage lights. At first, it seemed harmless. Fans held up their devices, eager to keep a memory, but slowly, something was stolen, something invisible, yet powerful. Instead of eyes locked on the stage, Bruce began seeing screens lifted into the air. Instead of singing along, people were framing shots. Instead of jumping, screaming, and sweating with joy, many stood still, as if they were directors shooting a scene instead of living in it. Bruce noticed the difference in energy. The old fire, the wild electricity, seemed to fade under the cold blue light of phones. A concert was no longer about the present moment. It became about proof. Proof to show friends online, proof to post later, proof to capture instead of feel. He once joked that sometimes the fans were watching the show through their phones more than they were watching it with their eyes. And while he laughed, deep down, it bothered him. Music was never meant to be experienced secondhand, even if that secondhand was your own recording. Music was meant to hit your chest, shake your bones, and stay in your soul, not just your camera roll. The more phones filled arenas, the more disconnected the crowd became. People weren't singing as loud. They weren't moving as free. The roar of thousands had turned into a quieter hum, interrupted by the sound of someone asking, "Did you get that shot?" It wasn't only Bruce who felt it. Bands across the world whispered the same thing backstage. Concerts were changing, and not always for the better. The connection between artist and audience was breaking, one phone at a time. And yet Bruce knew something else. He knew that Iron Maiden fans were different. They were built on loyalty, passion, and the kind of devotion that doesn't fade with trends. He believed that somewhere under the screens, that raw spirit still lived. One night, when the phones were gone, he finally saw it again. The same fire he had seen in the early days. The proof he was looking for. The reminder that without phones, fans weren't just an audience. They were a force. That night, Bruce understood something he could never forget. The phone might record the show, but the heart records the memory. And when the phones disappeared, the heart beat louder than ever. Bruce Dickinson has always said it. Iron Maiden fans aren't like anyone else. From the very beginning, they stood apart. They didn't just buy records, they lived them. They didn't just attend shows, they transformed them into rituals. When you walked into an Iron Maiden concert, you weren't just another ticket holder, you were part of a tribe. It didn't matter if you were in London, Sao Paulo, Tokyo, or Karachi. The feeling was the same. Banners flew high, denim jackets wore the same battle scars, and voices rose in unison like a single army. Bruce often described Iron Maiden fans as family, not because it sounded nice, but because it was true. Fans knew the lyrics, the stories, even the hidden details in the artwork. They weren't passive listeners. They were guardians of the band's legacy, and this loyalty carried a special power when phones were taken away. Unlike casual listeners who might panic without the chance to record, Maiden fans thrived in the rawness of the moment. They came for connection, not content. They came to lose themselves in the storm of music, not to save it for later. Bruce saw it in their faces. The second the first chord rang out, Iron Maiden fans weren't looking for a camera. They were raising their fists. Their voices became louder than the amplifiers, their chants shaking the rafters. In those moments, the line between performer and audience dissolved. The band fed on the energy of the fans, and the fans fed on the fire of the band. It was a cycle, a loop of pure passion, impossible to recreate on a screen. What makes Maiden fans different is not just their devotion to the band, but their devotion to the experience. They know that a concert is not just entertainment, it's memory. It's sweat dripping down your face. It's your throat burning from screaming. It's the stranger next to you who suddenly feels like your brother because you both shouted the same lyric at the top of your lungs. That can't be captured in pixels. Bruce has said many times that without phones, Iron Maiden concerts feel alive in a way that most shows today don't. It's as if the band and fans are locked in a secret pact. Tonight, we are here together. Nothing else matters. And that's why Iron Maiden fans are different. They don't just consume music. They worship it. They protect it. They live it. The rest of the world may chase likes, shares, and followers, but Maiden fans, they chase the roar of the crowd, the surge of adrenaline, the immortality of one perfect moment that never needs to be posted, because it will live forever inside them. For Bruce Dickinson, that loyalty is proof that Iron Maiden will never be just another band, and their fans will never be just another audience. They are something rare, something untouchable, something eternal.